Maki versus the Zang clan is one of the most destructive, emotional, and intense fights in all of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, these elements have been presented in Jujutsu Kaisen before, especially in the Shibuya arc, but this episode achieves the same impact within a 28-minute episode. Although most anime fans may be looking at this episode as Maki's side quest, Mappa took this opportunity to create a beautiful, blood-stained love letter to the female-led revenge film. In this video, we'll be looking at set design, frame composition, and fight choreography, specifically in the Maki versus the Kukuru Unit fight in episode 51 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Just for a bit of context, this scene in the manga was only 8 pages long, and Mappa took this scene and stretched it out into a 3-minute action-packed scene that has a ton of references to the Bride versus the Crazy 88 fight in the 2003 Quentin Tarantino film Kill Bill Part 1. Now, anyone with 2 eyes and an internet connection can essentially tell you that these 2 fights look the same and have similar shots. But in this video, I hope to answer the question of why. Why are these shots selected, and how do these scenes make the audience feel? The first reference in the Jujutsu Kaisen episode starts even before Maki and the Kukuru Unit even cross swords. The set design for the fight is a direct reference to the House of Blue Leaves, which was the setting for the Kill Bill fight. From the 2-story railing along the perimeter, to the glass panel flooring over a Zen garden made of stone and sand, and the double banister staircases with a pool on the side, are all similarities between the 2 sets that draw parallels to each other. Just another tidbit here, the House of Blue Leaves isn't even a real place. It was a set that was based and inspired off of the Gonpachi restaurant in Nishi Azubu, Tokyo. So that's pretty cool. The next reference from the Maki fight has to do with the frame composition and shot selection. As Maki is facing off against the Kukuru Unit, there are 3 specific shots that I want to reference to help us set up the similarities between these 2 scenes. The first shot is the walk-up. Both Mappa and Tarantino took advantage of the fact that they have glass floors and can shoot upwards at their main character taking center stage. Not only does this focus the audience's attention on our main character, but an upwards angle gives the impression of power, even as an army of one. The second shot is a crane-up shot after being surrounded by the enemy. I want to take this opportunity to talk about color theory for these shots in particular. There's an interplay between 3 different colors that help both of these scenes stand out. The first is our main character. Maki is in black, while the Bride is in their signature Bruce Lee jumpsuit. Then, the opponents. In JJK, they're in white, and the Yakuza in Kill Bill are in black. And the last, often overlooked element of this scene is actually the floor. For Maki's fight, it's purple to contrast with the black and white of all of the characters. While in Kill Bill, it's still white and brown to help the yellow stand out the most. This shot serves 2 purposes for the story. Not only is it a shot to draw our attention to our revenge-driven protagonist, but it also sets up the scale of the fight and makes it feel like it's her against the world. Another small detail is that the stones inside of the Zen garden are almost in the same spots, so I have to give props to the Mappa team for picking up on that small attention to detail. The last shot is the reflection of their enemies in the sword. In Kill Bill, the shot was used to emphasize how many enemies are surrounding the Bride in this moment. In Jujutsu Kaisen, they actually take this one step further, by placing the reflection and the edge of the sword on top of all of the Kukuru Unit's heads or necks, essentially foreshadowing what's about to happen to these unnamed henchmen. With this scene set and our sides clearly marked out, it's time to cross swords and talk about the actual fight choreography. There are specific sequences in my versus the Kukuru Unit fight that pull directly from Kill Bill Volume 1. Just for clarification, I do want to point out one other small color theory element that comes into play here. At one point during both the JJK episode and Kill Bill, the episode goes from full color to black and white. In the Maki fight, it does it randomly off of a guy getting stabbed in the face, but in Kill Bill, there is an actual deliberate transition point, which happens to be this. This was initially done to skirt around the NC-17 rating given by the Motion Pictures Association and dropped it down to a rated R, so it's more accessible in theaters. In the US, the scene still remains this way, but overseas, the scene remained in full color. So the deliberate switch in color from black to white is something that MAPPA intentionally did to call back to the US release of Kill Bill. MAPPA did add their own spin to it, however, by keeping the blood red to stand out against the black and white scene. Now moving on into the fight, the first scene is this shot of our MC slicing a dude directly down the middle. This shot also frames up our protagonist again and focuses the camera directly on our rage-filled MC. Not only is this a cool shot, but it also shows off the strength of the weapons that they hold. In Jujutsu Kaisen, Maki is holding the Dragonbone sword that she initially started out with, but she also is holding the Soul Split katana, which Mai created in her final moments. For the bride, she's actually carrying a Hattori Hanzo sword, which is considered one of the best Japanese steel swords in the entire universe. Moving on to our next sequence, we have to take a look at this short kunai tracking shot. This is a direct reference to the axe throw from Kill Bill, and they both track the enemy sliding back after taking a projectile to the head. This shot showcases their strength in a variety of weapons, besides their own swords that they came in with, which makes them even more intimidating. Not only do they know how to use their own weapons, but they also know how to use yours. I just want to take this moment to also point out another small Easter egg that they threw into the Jujutsu Kaisen episode. They totally didn't have to do this, but everyone will meme on the Garo slide as she is literally skating on the blood of her enemies, but the hit that follows that is a 1-inch punch. Now this is a direct call to Bruce Lee, but also Kill Bill Volume 2, which is the movie after Kill Bill 1. That's how that works. This was one of the main moves that the bride trained in and eventually mastered to help her get out of some very tight situations in the movie. Now the final shot in the Maki versus the Kukuru fight is this blood-stained room with all of the members scattered around, completely dismembered. This is a great way to show off the full-scale carnage and was a great callback to a similar shot in Kill Bill. The difference is that they left Maki in the middle of the whole event, while the bride is still on top of the staircase, proclaiming her victory over the Crazy 88. The shot was mainly used to show the overall result and impact of trying to cross Maki or the bride. In conclusion, MAPPA Studios used this opportunity in episode 51 of Jujutsu Kaisen to pay homage to the female-led revenge film through the deliberate set design, shot composition, and fight choreography. Not only do these film techniques give a nod to Tarantino's Kill Bill, but they also reinforce a lot of the ideas that were in there, such as overwhelming power, unwavering motivation, and strong female characters standing up against a system that wants to keep them down. Another thing that I noticed is that the ratings for this episode are highly divisive between the Japanese audience and the Western audience. And personally for me, I'm wondering if that has to do with how much influence Kill Bill had on this specific episode. There were multiple other references to Kill Bill throughout this entire episode that I did not specifically cover in this video, and it may have changed the pacing of the narrative or influenced the music choices to be a little bit different than what Japanese audiences were expecting. On the other hand, Western audiences like myself may have had a level of familiarity bias when it comes to Tarantino and high action sequences like this. Or we're just so unga bunga action brain now that we just let Solo Leveling win Anime of the Year over Frieren, and honestly I'm still not over that. Now film buffs will circle back to the main thesis of this video and say, Kana, Kill Bill was heavily influenced by the 1973 Toshio Fujita film Lady Snowblood. And that one is Japanese. And that is true. The main point that I'm trying to make here is that the theme of revenge films is kept alive and well through this episode of Jujutsu Kaisen. We won't know if the next excellent revenge movie might draw inspiration from this anime episode, or introduce a new audience to the films that came before it. Every single piece of art and media has been influenced by something else in another way, shape, or form. MAPPA didn't rip off the sequence from Kill Bill because it was cool or it was easy, but rather they added their own spin on it through the lens of Jujutsu Kaisen. This whole episode was a heartfelt, blood-stained love letter to the female-led revenge film, and I loved every second of it. Thank you everybody for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little breakdown of the Maki versus Kukuru Unit fight. The thing that I do want to ask you guys down in the comments is, do you guys agree with the Japanese audience? Do you guys think that it changed the entire pacing and vibe of the episode? Or are you guys more okay with what the West thinks and thinks it's an awesome episode overall? The other thing that I do want to ask you guys is, do you guys like these video essays? I haven't done one of these in almost like a year now, maybe over a year. I'm not 100% sure. But if you guys want to check out one of the older ones, feel free to click right over here. This one's talking about anime shorts and how they ended up turning into full-length series. But once again, thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to read more manga. See you guys on the next one. It's crazy. I just made a whole video on Jujutsu Kaisen and I don't have a single volume up here.